Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Okay, so we are on verse 26 of chapter 7 of Bhagavad Gita. And 25 that we did last week was Krishna Bhagwan said, I am not manifest to all in my real nature, veiled by divine Maya. This deluded world knows me not, the unborn, the imperishable. And we had a pretty detailed discussion on Maya and all. We felt, I think Meeraji felt it was unfair, but then everybody contributed, and so we cleared it. That is, you can look at it as just a game, or if you want to just make it a little humorous, and then hey, he's hiding and we have to find him. Okay, on that note, we'll go to the next one. Verse 26. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna Bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kaschana. Veda. So वैसे तो Vedas means the 4 Vedas, but here it means to know, because actual meaning of Ved is to know. That's how the word Vedas also came about. So here it means to know. Aham means I. Again, the Krishna Bhagwan at that highest level. Samatitani is the past. Vartamanani is the present. So, Vartaman word we have heard. Cha is and. Arjun, we know Arjun. Bhavishyani, we know the future. Cha is and. Bhutani is the beings. Panchbhut se jo bane hote hain, unko Bhutani bolte hain. Mam is again me. It's talking about Lord Krishna at the highest level. Tu is verily. Ved is again knows. No is not. Kaschan is anyone. So, Krishna Bhagavan over here is saying, he's just clarifying his position versus we as Jiva who have not understood God from his essence, what is our condition. So he's saying that as Ishwar, and then again his role as a Ishwar means the totality, he knows everything. So Veda means, Aham means I know. Samtitani, Bhutani, like we say, Samtitani is beings of the past. So I know all the beings of the past. And Vartamani is present. So know all the beings of the present. And Bhavishyani. जो future में होने वाला उनको भी मैं जानता हूँ. As Ishwar, he is Sarvagya. So that's the word they use in Sanskrit, Sarvagya. So if you have to compare Ishwar and Jiva, which is our condition. So what is the difference? Ishwar is Sarvagya and we are Alpagya. Alpagya is another Sanskrit word, means little. So, and Sarvagya means, Sarva means everything. So complete, whole. He knows everything. And then the other differences, we can see that Ishwar is Sarva Shaktiman, we know that word. And we are Alpa Shaktiman. So I was just thinking about it, when we see these Puranic stories, these Rakshasas and Asuras, all of a sudden they feel very powerful. थोड़ा सा boon मिल जाता है उनको वो अपने आप को सर्वज्ञ समझने लगते हैं. Then they think they are invincible and then they will do they'll rule the 3 world. और सभी को मुंह की खानी पड़ती है, right? Because in the end, कितना भी हो जाए, they cannot never compete with the Ishwar, So that's how we have to look. So he's Sarva Vyapi, present everywhere, and we are Alpa Vyapi. Those 3 terms that every religion uses, omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. So those are the things that we have to contemplate upon. So even omnipotent Ishwar has got all the power, and see this power and this omniscience, or these 3 terms, we have to understand from the Prakriti point of view. So just this is a little subtle also, this whole point. So I'll try my best to explain. So with respect to Prakriti, Bhagwan is all pervading. So whenever we talk about Prakriti, that's when this whole idea of present everywhere or all pervading and all comes, because we talk about space also the same way. And what do we talk about in Prakriti? In all the five Panchabhutas, the objects and the space. So when it comes to these terms, from the highest perspective, the concept of all is also not there. Somebody said, how can that be? Think of it this way. If there is only one entity, तो क्या तो all और क्या all नहीं, right? One and only. So try to think about that. जब एक ही एक हो तो उसके लिए तो कोई है ही नहीं, एक ही है बस. That's it. All बोलने की भी जरूरत नहीं है. That's what it is. So with respect to the world, we have to look at all these three aspects of it. So, and also another very important thing is that as a Ishwar, he is karma phal data. Means what? Giver of the results of karma. So he also removes our bondage. So these are some of the finer points in this, that it's not directly given, but it's all implies all these things. So somebody will say then, why all this drama and all that? But then look at it this way. Bhagwan is like as though playing with himself only, hamare roop mein. So he appears in our lives as a teacher. So whenever you get some Guru Tattva in your life, it is him only coming. And he removes our bondage also. I thought this was a very interesting perspective that, Nikhilanandji brought. So from that perspective, Bhagwan says that I know all beings of the past, present, and the future. And then the other thing over here, it says this, Mam tu Veda Kaschana, but no one knows me. That's what he said, right? And Chinmayanandji is going to take a very scientific approach, and he's going to explain. But Nikhilanandji took a slightly kinder approach and said that no one knows me except the Jnani. Remember, he already mentioned that Jnani is the one, that devotee knows me. Okay? And so people in general don't know him. He remained hidden at all times. So how do we understand in our life that what is happening in this hidden business? So Nikhilanandji explained it very well, that one may keep on worshipping, different types of idols, or images or concept, but still God remains hidden for them. We know that, so many people, they do. And eventually they might reach because of their sadhana, but, in general, we are talking about what happens. So the only way to recognize God is to follow the path which is he himself showed in the Upanishad. Here in Bhagavad Gita, it's Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. He's directly telling you. So that's why we have to follow what he's saying himself in Upanishad and Gita and all that. So what is the sara of all this? What is he saying? That from the cosmic standpoint, this whole thing is just one big play. And they have a very beautiful word in Sanskrit, Leela. Everybody's heard of Ram Leela. Leela. We have heard of this word because no other word fits this whole thing that happens. And that might answer some of Meeraji's question also, that what's going on? It's a big cosmic play. Play of that consciousness, that reality. And so Nikhilanandji always comes up with some brilliant example that how can we relate? Why this hangama is happening? Everybody asks, no? Hey, why all this? Zarurat kya thi ye sab karne ki? So he gave an example, and see if we can relate to his example. Because a lot of us are grandkids now. We have all our children too, but we forgot now their childhood. Now we are reliving it through our grandchildren. So he's saying that, say grandchildren are playing, okay? And they are having a good time and all, and suddenly, sometimes they'll start fighting, or sometimes they will do some hangama, break something and all that, and you go running over there and you shout at them, hey, what are you doing? And they will say, Oh, I'm just playing. That's all they will say. Even though some bad things are happening from your perspective, कोई तोड़ा फोड़ी कुछ हो रहा है, मगर they just keep saying that I'm playing, And sometimes even little children, you feel that are they wasting their time? They will just take some sand and put it here, and from here they'll put it there. Keep doing. They're having a good time. So that's what it is. Similarly, God Himself has become everything. Just playing with each other. And that whole verse of Brahma, Arpanam Brahma, He's saying it's like in the ocean, one wave is jumping on the other, and just playing with each other, something like that. So that's why He Himself is in this great grand play. And He Himself has taken the role of teacher, disciple, also the seeker. Okay? And He Himself comes out of this play. See, from that perspective, He comes out of this play. So just what Nikhilananji's advice was, just enjoy the play, sit back and relax. Don't take it so seriously. That's all the saints and sages tell us. It's a relative reality. Don't give it so much importance like you do, life and death situation, this and that. So he's saying whatever stage you are in, just think of it that God has appeared as you, or anybody else for that matter, for everybody. So just play that role that you are in the best way you can and move ahead with life. That's why I thought it was such a great advice. And that is what we understand after studying all the scriptures. So what Krishna Bhagavan is directly saying, that is one grand play you can call, usko kya bolte hai wo Broadway play that everybody goes to. This is a Broadway play of the universe. So that's why the realized masters, once they recognize who their self, they understand the real nature, and that person enjoys the whole play and the drama. And then they gave everybody gives the example of Lord Krishna, even though he was born in jail. कोई और होता तो जिंदगी भर रोता ही रहता, मैं जेल में क्यों पैदा हुआ? Nothing like that. He was born and he moved ahead. And then if you see his stories, whole time he's busy. One or the other Rakshasas are coming to hurt him and do all that, and he's trying to fix that. But he's only enjoying, laughing, smiling. किसी ने बोला कभी रोता हुआ कृष्ण कभी किसी को नहीं दिखेगा. Hamesha, even when he's on the battlefield. When we do the Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 2 it comes that when Arjuna was all upset and crying and all that, and Krishna Bhagwan ने smile करके उसको answer दिया. तो किसी ने बोला कि hey, why Krishna Bhagwan had to smile when Arjuna is crying, Is it that very cruel? No, it's like you go to a doctor and you tell them, I'm dying, and the doctor says, I know you're dizzy, don't worry, take this antibiotic, you'll be fine. So he already knew the cure. That's why he was smiling, that ye bichara itna dukhi ho raha hai, main isko theek kar dunga. Something like that. So all he was enjoying. So I thought that was a very good example. So it's a simple verse, but this is what it is in it. Any question or comment before we read? Okay, looks like everybody's satisfied now. Okay, who's gonna read any new person wants to read who has not read before?
Confused more than satisfied, Umaji.
But बताइए ना, confusion, the whole idea about this class is about confusion only. बताइए, let's hear your question,
Do the reading though.
I'm sorry?
So let's just first do the reading and then we go.
Okay, all right, that's fine. So do I have anybody who would like to read who has not read before? Because it's nice if everybody participates. Okay, I guess Meera ji, you're on. Are you there? Where are you? I cannot find her.
Umaji, I can read, but I don't have the book.
Okay. That was a good one. Okay, I think Meera ji, for some reason, she was there, but then for some reason she got off. Yeah, Urmil ji, great. आपका सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है उर्मिल जी, आपका you have to unmute.
I know.
O Arjuna, the beings of the past and future and present and the future, but no one knows me. The idea that God is omniscient is common to all religions of the world, but a satisfactory explanation of this concept is given only in Vedanta. In the Gita, too, as a Bible of the Hindu religion, as a handbook of easy reference for the students of the Upanishads, we find a wider hint as to what we mean by the omniscience of the self.
So here, omniscient means all knowing. So he's saying that it is common to all religion, and you can ask any religion, they will use those three terms for God. And he said that according to Chinmayanandaji, satisfactory explanation is given over here, very scientific explanation. And when we read his commentary, we'll understand it more. And in Bhagavad Gita, I was thinking 3 places it happened. One was this particular verse. Very clearly, he said that I know, all 3 periods. And then when it came to chapter 4, where he declared to Arjuna, I always say that he gave the visiting card. One of the Swamis came up with that term, that he gave Arjuna the visiting card, means he revealed his divinity. Then he said that when this Srishti was being created, I gave this knowledge that he's giving in Gita to Lord's son, Vivaswan. And then he gave it, so that means he knew. And Arjuna was like, yeah, but you are born now. How can that be? That's when he said, hey, mujhe sare janma yaad hai, tumhe yaad nahi hai. Right? So he declared ki mujhe sab malum hai pehle ka. So that was one place. This is the second place. And third place is obviously the one that he gave Vishwarup Darshan to him. That when Arjuna asked for it, that, hey, you say that whole world is within you. Can you show me? And that's when the past, present, and future also was seen by Arjuna. And so those were the 3 solid places in Bhagavad Gita that this was cleared.
The self as the pure consciousness is the illuminating principle that brings the entire field of the mind and intellect under the beam of its clear awareness. Even the world of objects is brought within our understanding only when it enters through the sense organ doors and reaches the mental lake and makes therein its characteristic thought waves. The thought waves make the intellect function in classifying and determining them. Both these mental and intellectual disturbances are illuminated for us by the ever-wakeful consciousness, the self in us.
So whoever has been with the class long enough, we know that what pure consciousness is of one, that powers everything. In the most simple words, without that consciousness, we will not have this awareness that we have of everything. And these days there is a huge discussions going on everywhere about the AI, right? Artificial intelligence. Everybody is talking about it. Joe also uses it a lot. Chat GPT posts a lot of things, and it's a very valuable thing, but people are very much afraid. Oh my God, because there are some people now concerned. They have gone as far as saying that human extinct kar denge ye log, or this fear is there. But one thing, there is a huge difference between this AI and us is they are not aware. AI is not aware of itself. It's not conscious. And that is such an upper hand that we have, that no matter how great the AI can become, humans are going to be smarter. Somebody is going to put a nail on it. That's how I look at it, So that's where it's saying that this consciousness, because of the consciousness. So whether it's sense organs or mental or intellectual, everything is powered by it. Even the sense organs, the information has to come through them and enter our mental lake he's talking about. And that mental lake is powered by that consciousness. So everything is illumined by that consciousness, and we have not reached there yet, but in chapter 13, he's going to declare that consciousness is one. Even though it looks different, that yours and my awareness is different because we have a separate body and we cannot have each other's thought, understand, and everything. But that power is one, and the best example is that we may have thousands of equipment, the electricity is one. That's how we have to understand it. It's a little deeper subject that we have to contemplate upon.
We can say, it is the consciousness, yes, is one, but it's reflected in each one of us.
Correct.
It's the reflection that we are seeing it. And that is different. And reflection is going through everybody's mind. And therefore, they're different. Each one is different.
Very good. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Yes. So that she made it easier to understand why we don't know about other people. Yes. Okay.
Sunlight illuminates all the objects of the world. When my eyes or ears illumine a given form or sound, I say that I see or hear that particular form or sound. In short, to be aware of a thing is to know that thing, and to know is to illumine. Just as the sun can be considered as the eye of the world, inasmuch as without the sun all organs of vision will be blind apertures, so too the self can be considered as the knower of everything, in everyone at all times and in all places. This omniscience of the Supreme is vividly hinted at here, when Krishna declares, I know the beings of the past, of the present, and of the future.
Was there another paragraph that got missed?
Well, I have this older version, so maybe...
Was it there?
No.
The self
it's
is...
just the self is missed in there.
Okay, so why don't you, Meenaji, read that one paragraph that got missed, because that's also very important. Yeah.
The self is the same everywhere. In all bosoms, it is the same conscious principle that illuminates the respective thoughts and ideas of the individual. Naturally, therefore, the self represents the awareness that illumines or knows all thoughts and all ideas in every living organism.
So this is again the same thing that I was talking about. The self is the same everywhere. That's why Krishna Bhagwan is mentioning over here, because it's a conscious principle that illumines every thought and every idea. And then he gave a very good example of the sun, that in that sunlight, we see things. So from the sun's perspective, sun is watching everything. That's how, because sometimes, hey, how does that consciousness know everything? Because the self can be considered as a knower of everything in everyone at all times in all places, because that's how it's called, omniscience. Okay.
Because otherwise, without the consciousness, nothing is known. Just like the sunlight, that's the essence. That's how we see everything. But that power, sun has its power, right?
Say that again. I'm sorry. What did you say?
Okay. No, what I'm saying is, when he says that it is the knower, because I guess the consciousness is the only way. He knows consciousness was there before, is, and will be. And that's how we can say that it knows the present,
yes,
past, and the future.
Correct.
Because, that's how we can say it knows. The consciousness knows.
So now in to understand it slightly further, they believe that the people who become self-realized, they also become Trikaldarshi. We have heard of this word, Trikaldarshi, right? They know the past, present, and they have the capability, because it's like their connection directly happens with that consciousness then. See, ours is a veil of Maya is there. The veil of Maya is gone. So, and they may choose to use that power. They may choose not to use that power, but they do have it, of the past, present, and future. And we know that there are people, they are kind of in this world even presently, to a different degrees, people do have power. And there is a very famous saying that when Buddha got enlightened, he remembered his past 100 lives. He knew exactly his journey and all that. And so, So in the end, it's a matter of Shraddha, how much you believe, but those evidences are there too. Yeah, go ahead, Urmilji.
Yeah. Uh,
It must be noted.
yeah, it must be noted that in the eternal self, yeah, I read that, I think.
No.
No. Yes, eternal self is not only the awareness that lights up all bosoms at this present moment, but it was the awareness that illuminate the objects, feelings, and thoughts in all bosoms from the beginning of creation, and it shall be the same principle behind every knower that knows anything in all the future generations till the endless end of time.
So Swamiji just explained that जितने भी beings पहले आए हैं, जितने भी हैं अभी और जितने भी आने वाले हैं, वो सब के पीछे power is that, illuminating power is that consciousness, and that's why this statement was made by Lord Krishna over here.
Electricity revolves the fan, but the fan can never fan the electricity. The gazer surveys the heavens through a telescope, but the telescope can never survey the gazer. The conscious principle vitalizes the food-made mind and intellect and makes them capable of feeling and thinking. Without the self-dynamizing them, they are incapable of sense perceptions, but neither the mind nor the intellect can perceive, feel, or comprehend the subjective principle, the self. The Lord declares here that though he knows everything at all times, in all places, he is known by none at any place or at any time, but me none knows.
So he's just giving a scientific reason why, because if it is a power behind our intellect, mind, and all that, that's why we cannot know him by intellect and mind. When he said nobody knows me, because we try so hard to know him with our mind and intellect, So and he just explaining the scientific fact that it cannot be known, but if you transcend that and you become that, then you know it. That's another way of looking. He didn't mention all that, but otherwise it's like, okay, I can never know Bhagwan, then what's the point of this journey? But in the present condition, we cannot know. And then he gave the very good example. Why? Because it's just like you're looking through the telescope, the eyes are watching. Telescope doesn't know the eyes. Eyes know the telescope. Again, this is a little deeper subject. We have to contemplate upon it. And like another example one of the Swamis gave is that when I look at my hand, I know my hand doesn't know me. So he's saying if hand knows me, that will be very spooky. So these
But
are...
that Umaji, that tells you, because of the consciousness, the fan and the other things, and even my mind and intellect are objects. They're
Yes.
not, without the consciousness,
And
they
then-
are only objects. And
Absolutely.
that's what I think they're trying to tell us,
Yeah.
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 And let's
When
say
do we get
our part that, consciousness, and that is the reflected consciousness comes into the mind, into the intellect, and therefore to all the parts of the body. Therefore, that's how our hands or feelings or we speak or anything like that. So it's the consciousness, and the objects don't have, the mind doesn't have itself
Right.
except that. So, that was beautifully explained here. Those are objects, and therefore they won't, speak to us. The objects can't see us, like the telescope can't see back us. So I thought that was very good explanation of Gurudev Ji.
So when do we get this conscious? Not,
Okay, I think that, I see your point. When does it happen to us, right? How do we become a conscious?
Not that, but we are all born with this, right? It's all in us, everything.
I know your question. You're saying, when does it come, right?
Yeah.
That's your question. When does it come? So, according to Vedanta, when you study more and more, you understand that there is a gross body, which is made of Pancha Mahabhutas, that is our body. And then there is something called subtle body. Subtle body is mind, intellect, and all our vasanas together from, or you can say tendencies of a previous उसको ना जीवात्मा भी बोलते हैं, because sometimes some people might call that Atma, but in Vedanta that's not called Atma. Atma is that pure self in Vedanta. So that Jivatma has a capability of reflecting that consciousness. So जब हमारा physical body और subtle body का संयोग होता है ना, then the physical body feels like alive. So वो संयोग कब होता है? When the baby in the certain, they have the whole Garbha Upanishad that in certain after the conception, I don't know exact time now, the subtle body will enter. That's when the baby in the tummy of mother becomes alive. And then when the person, we say, hey, person is dead, because the subtle body has exited the body. So now that the connection is gone and the reflection of the consciousness is gone. That's how it is. That's why sometimes a young person in an accident passes away or something, their body looks perfect. But the subtle body has exited. So then the person cannot do anything. Yeah.
Thanks. According to the strictest Vedantic philosophy, the self is not a knower, but as in the strictest logic of thought, it would not be correct to say that the sun illumines the world. From our standpoint, contrasting with the hours of night when things are not illumined, we may rightly attribute the function of illuminating things during the day to the principle of light called the sun. However, from the standpoint of the sun, which is ever brilliant, there's no moment when he is not blessing the objects with his shining touch. Therefore, it is as meaningless to say that the sun illumines the objects as to say that I'm too busy nowadays breathing.
So what he was trying to say is that from what perspective you are talking about is illumination. I'll try to simplify it. It's a little bit, difficult to understand it. It's like within the sun, there is nothing called darkness. Because that's the nature of it. So, जो consciousness का nature है ना, it is Sat Chit Anand, right? So it is conscious. Now, the way our teacher and all used to explain to us this whole concept, that consciousness is all pervading. So it is touching everything. But why some things are alive and some things are not? Because they have the capacity to reflect something, surfaces, and some don't. Okay, that's how we are. So now let's look at the sun example. Sun is, when the sunshine comes out, it is everywhere. पत्थर पे भी पड़ा हुआ है उसका sun rays, और एक शीशे पे भी पड़ा हुआ है. Reflection कहाँ होता है? शीशे पे होता है. In shisha you can, or in the mirror you can see, or a very quiet, clean water in some lake or something, you can see the reflection of the sun perfectly. And जितना मडी होएगा उतना कम दिखेगा, और कोई पत्थर होएगा उसमें दिखेगा ही नहीं. Now apply the same thing to us. The physical aspect of the body cannot reflect consciousness, but the mind is subtle. It can reflect. It's like a mirror. It can reflect. And when the mind and that subtle body connects to the physical body, that's when the whole thing, feeling of aliveness starts, you can say. And in the worldly example is the equipment and the electricity. Okay, I can put the electricity in whatever I want, but if that equipment is not, capable of doing something, I can just plug a wire and then I put it to this murti, nothing is going to happen. See what I'm saying? But if I put a plug to a computer, it's capable of becoming alive. So that I thought this is a good example to understand what happens with consciousness and why some things get alive and others don't, because they have the capacity to reflect it more. Okay?
Knowhood is a status gained by self when it functions through the equipment of Maya, And the self that functions in and through delusory Maya is called the God principle, termed in the Vedantic literature as Ishvara. Here, Krishna is pictured by Vyasa as the divine embodiment of truth and an incarnation of the self, and therefore it is perfectly right if he arrogates to himself the nature of omniscience and declare himself as the knower of everything in all the three periods of time.
So he's just talking about, this thing about knowerhood and all. How do I explain that? It's something like I become a driver when I sit in a car. Then I become a driver of that car. So I get this driverhood, right? So that's how he's saying this is pure consciousness. When the Maya, Shakti of Maya is connected to it, or it expresses, you can say, that's when that knowerhood business starts. Otherwise it's like from the highest perspective, you can't say that. It's again, there's a little deeper subject. And they call God principle because it's that God principle reflects through all of us. And when it comes to the word Ishvara, it's a little technical in Vedanta. एक तो होता है pure consciousness और एक को बोलते हैं ईश्वर. Ishwar is that one when he gets this title of Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Also, that's also हम ईश्वर ही बोलते हैं उनको, right? So वो ईश्वर होता है जब pure consciousness plus Maya together is Ishwar, the totality. That's how we have to look at it. So Krishna Bhagwan is talking here as an Ishwar, and because he is still at that high level, he's saying that his omniscience he is declaring over here. Because it's just like, Nikhilanandji explained that Ishwar is Sarvagya, we are Alpagya. Ishwar has all power, and it's like ocean and one wave. Can we compare the whole ocean to one wave? Ocean is vast. It has so much energy, so much power. It knows everything. It knows every wave. I think that's a great example. So a small wave, no matter how large, a tsunami can be there. It cannot compare to the whole ocean. Finally, tsunami will also subside. It has to merge back in the ocean, So you can look at it as a wave versus ocean. That's what they're talking about.
But unfortunately, an egocentric mortal viewing the universe through the pinhole of his congested, constricted, and limited mind and intellect fails to see the harmonious rhythm in the macrocosm. He who can rip open his own self-made bondages of ignorance and rise to attune himself with the macrocosm can certainly come to experience the Krishna viewpoint. Anyone who successfully comes to live thus in unison with the cosmic mind is the Krishna of that age and forever thereafter.
So I think that nobody could explain it more beautifully, right? That if we are from a very limited perspective, we see, and he's called it the pinhole of look at his words, congested, constricted, and limited mind intellect, then we don't see the harmony. हम लोग बोलते हैं क्या chaos है दुनिया में, क्या chaos है देखो, if you see the, क्या बोलते हैं, up in the sky, it looks all beautiful, but if you ask the people who study science, they will say कभी supernova हो रहा है, कभी explosion हो रहा है, ये nothing but a leela हो रही है. Some fun is happening over there, but we can only look at it if we come out of this small thinking of ours and expand our thinking. That's the cosmic mind, unison with the cosmic mind. That should be our goal.
A beautiful example of the, as you mentioned just now, the wave and the ocean.
Yeah.
That if the wave could think I'm the same as the ocean because of the essence is the water in both of them.
Correct. You got the
Right?
picture. Yes.
And that's
Yes.
beautiful. That would be beautiful. I mean, that's how we are, and the world, and the Ishvara. It's
Correct.
the essence in us and the essence in the Lord, in
Yes.
God, is the same. And that way, it's beautiful that way. Yeah.
Then if we start thinking about all these things like that, the way you're mentioning, then we don't feel so dejected in life,
Yeah.
That's what it is. Otherwise, it's like if you start...
even the same. It's the same. That's how you come to know. It's not. We're not different. We're not away from it that far away. Where have to we reach or something?
Yeah.
The divine is there. So that's how you feel a little bit then.
And then also when we have some Shraddha in this higher self, even after studying Vedanta, then we don't get so upset about whatever is happening in the world. Like so many people are getting upset about this AI now. I was telling you, there's so much discussions going on, and one fellow, he made a very nice comment, who is actually one of the founders of this AI company, and he said, they were asking him question that, do you think that this is a very dangerous thing, and bad things will happen and all that. So he said, it's like any other technology. It's like nuclear weapons. The nuclear power, you can use it like a weapon, or you can use it for a betterment of society. Electricity, somebody can kill somebody with it, or it can be what we are, right? So same way AI, it is already out now, nobody can stop it. So the best thing is manage it properly. And he's saying he was more afraid of the human stupidity rather than the AI. See what I'm saying? If it goes in the stupid people's hand and people who just want to profit from it or just hurt other people, that's what the problem is. Technology is great. Actually, we don't even realize we are already using it, but in a lot of positive manner. But if the human beings start becoming devious, diabolic, that's when the whole problem starts. And that has been there since the beginning. Satyug में भी राक्षसास और असुर थे, अब फिर वो द्वापर त्रेता सब में अभी भी हैं. But most of the people are good. They're not going to use it to destroy anybody. But there will be few that we have to keep a control over them. That's all. So that's why I think it really gives us peace to believe in something higher. And then we say, okay, things are going to be fine. That's what I think the message over here is.
I like that. I like it. If the self is the eternal knower of all conditioned knowledge, then what veils this essential nature from our realizations? Listen.
So like in this whole chapter, Krishna Bhagavan is constantly telling us different reasons why we don't surrender to the highest, why we don't understand and now with the verse that is going to come, it is directly connected with a verse in chapter 3 where he's going to come back to an absolute basic now. That because of these pairs of opposite arising from desire and means, rag, dvesh, जो हमारे में भरा हुआ है, उसकी वजह से veil होता है. Like Meera ji's question that why does it happen? Because of our own rag and dvesh. We get caught up in it. Like Swamiji used to say, that we, half of the life, not half, this is what it is. हमको कोई चीज़ अच्छी लगती है और कोई चीज़ हम रिजेक्ट कर देते हैं, राइट? नहीं चाहिए यहाँ भगाओ मेरे सामने से. सो हम जिसको रिजेक्ट करते हैं ना, हम लोग ने ऑलरेडी 50% यूनिवर्स को रिजेक्ट कर दिया है. So we don't think it that way. And even if you see in the world, you cannot just take a part of somebody. Even if you make a friend, that friend has a personality. Certain things will be good and certain things you may not like. But if you want to have friendship, you got to tolerate everything. You got to enjoy the good part. Even with our children, family, spouse, whatever we call it, you have to take that thing as a whole. You cannot take a coin and say, I'm going to take only one side of the coin. I don't want the other side. It's not going to happen, But unfortunately, whole life we do that. We reject things. I don't want this and I want this. I don't want to. That's what he's going to talk about. That's what keeps Bhagwan away from us. So he already declared that in chapter 3, if you want to rise in spirituality, give up your likes and dislikes. Don't come under the sway. He didn't even say give up, because we can't give up our likes and dislikes. He said, don't come under its sway. इतना उन्होंने मतलब अच्छा tip दिया हमको. And he said that they are like roadside robbers. They'll pounce on you, the likes and dislikes of us. And then it will turn into love and hate if you don't control it. And then they become your enemy. पहले तो बोला कि roadside robbers, बोलता है enemy. Enemy होता है कि जिसको जो डिस्ट्रॉय करना चाहता है तुमको, because it veils the wisdom. So this, when we study Bhagavad Gita, we have to connect it to what he said before. That's the next verse that's going to come. You know, let it.
Umaji, I was reading someplace where it says, hold tight to your pillar of knowledge and watch the show around you.
Very good statement. That's exactly what you are talking about. And the more we get established in that pillar of knowledge, the more we'll enjoy. It's not going to bother us. You know?
It's not going to affect us.
Yes. So, Swamiji used to give this example, that the waves are crashing everywhere and the boat will, suppose there is a boat, small boat, is going to get demolished. But a lighthouse doesn't get demolished because it's rooted at the basin of the ocean. So it has this knowledge. So I thought that was a very good example, that waves can crash the lighthouse, nothing's going to happen to it, it's solid. But a boat will get demolished. So, any other comment, question? Naresh ji, आपके क्या विचार हैं?
I'm good now.
Good now? Okay, so I think Swamiji's all this explanation helped. Okay, anybody else has any question, comment, confusion, or want to enlighten us more? Here is your chance. Okay, then I'll close Bhagavad Gita here. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhya mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om.